So let's unpack that a little bit. So before AI, we lived in this world where we authors had websites and we were told that we had to do all these keyword searches and the whole schema cheat sheet in the back and even the backlinks. I mean, all this stuff that we had to do to try to get visibility on Google search. And this is why this is changing. Hey there, writer, and welcome back to the Novelist Studio. I am your host, Anna Del Valle, and I have Izaic Yorks with me on the podcast today. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. We're going to be talking about AI and marketing and AI and book and author marketing. It's going to be a super, super interesting episode. So, Izaic is actually a professional athlete turned author. He was a track and field runner for many years, and then he used to just kind of sit around and relax and with his laptop start writing stories. And now he is a published fantasy author, and you can find him at isaacyorks.com, his website, and check him out there. But what I really find interesting about Izaic, and I wanted to bring him on the show, is that AI is such a new space. And he reached out to me and said, hey, I really want to talk about marketing and marketing for authors and how SEO has changed. Now, if you're hearing a lot of technical terms, don't worry. We're going to explain everything. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Anna.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I think it's fascinating that you used to be a professional runner and now you are writing books and you're also working in tech, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wild shift, especially because all of my friends, they were shocked that I became a professional athlete. It was not that guy, and I think it's just continuing, right? So it's like, but I will say, I am on the content creation side in the tech world, but
Uh-huh.
uh, I work hand in hand with CTOs and CEOs when it comes to that. So I am privy to a lot of conversations that and let's say dumb down explainers for someone like me to bring me up to their level so that I can actually create the content and understand it when I'm making it for them. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I thought it was so interesting that because I've seen this, and I don't know if you're listening to this, if you have seen the rumors and folks are already talking about this, but that SEO, which is basically search engine optimization for websites, that's really changing with the rise of AI. And so, can you tell us a little bit about what that meant in layman's terms in the old world, and what how that's changing and what it means now?
yeah, sure, of course, Anna. So you know, back in the old days, which really wasn't that long ago,
I know, like
how
2 years ago.
right, right, and the way things are accelerating, we're gonna be having this conversation again in a year, and it's gonna be feel different in some ways.
Yeah.
Um, but such is the curse of technology moving so fast. But how it used to be when it came to SEO was essentially you weren't necessarily writing for a human. If you were writing your content really well, it was aligning with a human reader. But from an SEO perspective, you were doing what was called keyword stuffing, right? So you
Keyword stuffing.
were,
Yeah.
mhm. And that was there's some other things behind it. Like if we really want to get technical about it, we can talk about schema markups, which a schema is basically like uh, a little cheat sheet behind the scenes of the website that tells the bots that crawl for like Google search or whatever how to
Hmm.
properly read your website and then categorize it. But that's a little technical. It's actually not that hard to do, but even that
Hmm.
would be stuffed with keywords, right? And so you wanted to have, if we were a taco food truck, we would be
Hmm.
trying to stuff the heck of that, the heck out of that with, whatever our specialty item was, where we were located. Oh, and by the way, did I mention we were a food truck that sells tacos?
Hmm.
And so you'd be trying to get that all over the place. Well, AI isn't necessarily with AI search rising. Um, it doesn't necessarily look at keywords in the same way because it doesn't really know what to do with that. And so let's back up and say like, okay, how was AI trained, right? A lot of AI
Mm-hmm.
is trained off of actual queries or human chats. So it's learned to
Mm-hmm.
look at things from a much more natural human based intent or language. And so at a surface level, that's how it's changed. It's conversations and the way you want to write things have become a lot more human. So that's great from our side of things as writers. But of course, there's a few more things in there, right? Like AI wants to also see that you have some credentials behind you. So if you can provide things in a way where it has studies or you have really good citations, and ideally citations that maybe aren't going to some random unknown blog but are going to a good media source, that it's going to look at that a lot closer.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the content that we're creating, AI cares a lot about multimodal content. So video, charts, tables, and then brand alignment. And then the last thing I'll say, because we could do a deep dive on that, is also is your content, what's on your website, what's in your blogs, is it broken up by search intent? And so back to the tacos,
Mm-hmm.
reference. By search intent, I mean when I go to a new town and I want tacos, I will typically type, what is the best tacos in Austin, Texas?
Mm-hmm.
So you should have a heading in there or in an FAQ section within that blog or that content that you want AI to find that says, what are the best tacos in Austin, Texas? That's one way to do it. Or to
Oh,
say the best
okay.
tacos in Austin, Texas. Because you're pairing the natural human search
Uh-huh.
with the end result. So it's not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
keywords, but it's
How
readability,
people talk, like
how
how
people
people
talk.
would ask questions. That's so interesting. Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. So, before AI, we lived in this world where we authors had websites and we were told that we had to do all these keyword searches and the whole schema cheat sheet in the back and even the backlinks. I mean, all this stuff that we had to do to try to get visibility on Google search. And now a lot of people, and this is why this is changing, a lot of people are actually, instead of going to Google, they're going to ChatGPT and entering, where can I find the best tacos in town, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then now, as a result, what's happened is that stuffing all those keywords on my website is not going to really ChatGPT or any AI you're using to look for the best tacos in town is not going to be looking for keywords. It's actually going to be looking for that query exactly,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be looking for
Interesting.
the answer with that, right? So
Uh-huh.
when you're keyword stuffing, you can be incentivized to write long paragraphs that has tons of the keywords related around the topic. So that way it's getting flagged bing, 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 bing by Google or Yahoo or whatever. So it
Mm-hmm.
pulls it up in the old way. Well, AI is trying to essentially serve the person looking as quickly as it can. And so it's having a big long paragraph of keywords and where the information that they might be looking for hidden in it, it's not as helpful to the AI. And so
Mm-hmm.
actually a really good way to think about this is if you were to give whatever content it is to another human being, and if they can't find their answer and they would click out and go somewhere else, that's probably not going to work as well for AI as well.
Yeah, right, right. So now, as authors, we need to think about when we're putting our landing page together, we want to think about what that header should be, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
if you are a spicy romantasy author, make sure that you have that in your top header, that you are, so and so, a spicy romantasy author, right? And I think that before, we as authors were just maybe, putting our name out there, like, oh, I'm so and so, and this is my webpage. Oh, and by the way, here's, my books, and then we had to do all the keywords in the back. But now we have this opportunity to really maximize and optimize our discoverability with these AI tools by really starting to use more natural language and inquiry language as text on our landing pages. Did I get that right?
Yeah, yeah, I would say that's pretty much right.
Awesome.
And I just want to flag, like, because I think it's easy to say, well, why is this so important?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Especially if you look into the stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Year on year, and actually, really, let's go month on month. The amount of people using AI search is growing. The fact that Google is trying to create its own entire, like, AI search website, right? It shows you that this is where things are going. But still, all in all, the amount of people who are using your traditional search methods is still outweighs the amount of people using AI search. Well,
Yeah.
for us as authors, right, we want that purchase, especially if we're selling wide and we're going from our website. Like, we need people to
Mm-hmm.
come and we need them to buy, whether we're sending them to our website or sending them to Amazon, whatever. When people search on Google and they find your information and they go there, the conversion rate is around like 0.8%.
Wow.
So you will
Mm-hmm.
get more searches currently, uh, in terms of like traffic to your website or wherever, via the old method. However, the fraction of people that are using the AI search, the conversion rate is a little over 16% in
Yeah,
terms
that's
of
crazy. And
buying.
let's talk about those numbers right now, because I agree with you that this is a very new on the scene. And I this is why I wanted to bring you on the podcast, because when you told me you wanted to talk about this, I knew immediately this was an innovative topic. This is one of those opportunities, windows of opportunities that show up, and people that learn how to optimize and maximize in these windows are gonna have good outcomes.
Mhm.
So yes, and let's talk about those numbers. Yeah, the old way, of course, a lot of people are still going to Google and searching, which is keyword optimization, but that conversion of 0.01, or what was it, 0.16?
It's like, yeah, it was like zero. When I last looked, I saw, and this was via, I think, something that Neil Patel put out. So if you're ever curious about
Uh-huh.
SEO and things, he's a great guy. You can go look up
Yeah.
his stuff. I think he said 0.8 was his latest research, but I'm sure it
Yeah.
bounces
Yeah.
around, but it's around
Yeah.
that number.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's low. And then, even though searching with AI, meaning that you use ChatGPT, Gemini, or whatever to do your search, then, you know, it's a 16% conversion for those people that land on those websites. And, you said something. I mean, those numbers are the writing on the wall right there, because this is like very early adoption. Yes, ChatGPT alone has 800 million weekly active users, which is insane for 3 years, right? I think it was November 30th of 2022 when they made it on the scene.
Hmm.
So it's it's significant. It's significant that it's at 16%. And and more people are going to keep adopting AI tools like ChatGPT. And ChatGPT, or Claude, or Gemini, or whatever, they're going to become the de facto place for you to go look for things, because these platforms are already platforms that you use for other stuff. People use these platforms for many other things. Like, I use ChatGPT all the time, so I am one of those people that never uses Google for search. I never do. Never do. Right? So, I mean, there's going to be a lot more people adopting that, and this is why it's so important to understand and learn about it.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I I 100% agree. And like um, the nature of how you go and search on it is very telling, right? It's like you go onto AI for a answer. You're usually pretty sure about what you're querying about usually, and you're much more primed.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then I think there was the recent news, right, where Walmart and ChatGPT are you're not able to shop. You're going to be able to shop directly from ChatGPT through
Oh
to
my
Walmart,
goodness. What a
right? So
crazy
like,
partnership. Yeah.
and I think that's going to become the standard, right? They're going to swap. You're going to
Hmm.
have businesses, large businesses, swap your data for with in order for the ease to use these AIs, who then you can say like it can look at and say, okay, you go and get milk, you know, every other week, and it's probably not gonna order for you, but it's gonna a day before when you would normally get milk, it's gonna say, hey, you normally come and get milk these days. Would you like AI to order this for you, right? So I
Hmm.
think we're definitely heading that way.
Yeah, for sure. I think it will, and I think that's a great segue for it is becoming the platform of choice, the workspace of humans, the workspace for people, because it could do so many things. And these platforms like ChatGPT are going to continue to evolve. Now, I use ChatGPT for creative writing. I built my entire AI editorial team on ChatGPT. I use it for my business to figure out, strategies that I want to use. And now I even have like a health and wellness folder that I have in there if I have like health and wellness questions. I mean, I am on this workspace all the time. So when I'm talking to my students that I'm onboarding to the AI Creative Writing Academy, I always say, I walk them through the stats of ChatGPT and I say, this is the next evolution of the internet. This is why it's
Mm-hmm.
so important to understand, right? And so I love this topic that we're talking about today. And I know it's early days for AI SEO optimization, but you said something really, really important in the beginning of our talk, and that is that this technology is moving a million miles an hour like no other technology has ever moved ever. And I mean, and so today, like 6 months from now, this whole SEO optimization for AI may be in a completely different spot in
Mm-hmm.
just 6 months, right? And adoption for it may be even way larger. And I think it's really funny because I this was such a like sign of the times, right? This little story I'm going to tell you. So I was just scrolling through Facebook, and here on my Facebook shows up, and this is going to be like, I'm not trying to plug this person or anything, but I just saw it. I thought it was incredible. Tony Robbins, who's has always been a life coach and a success coach, and now he's got this partnership with Dan Graciosi. And for the first time ever, I saw this guy, and his ad was, oh, we're going to have an AI convention. We're going to teach you all about AI. We're going to tell you how to use it. If you haven't adopted it yet, you're already like, you should have been adopted it 12 months ago. This is going to change so much in 18 months. Like, he's trying to educate his entire audience on AI adoption in any workflow where they are in their lives. Obviously, he sells, coaching for people to go, whatever, life coaching, if you want to start your business or whatever, he's known for that. But I thought it was crazy to see Tony Robbins talking like that. Like, he has an entire conference coming up around that. Isn't that crazy?
Right, and that feels like it's like miles away from what he normally would do, but it just
Yes, right?
it shows you where we are, and like
Mm-hmm.
um it blows my mind the amount of people who are staunchly against it. The historian in me says there will always be someone who's against history or against change in tech, right? Like I think it's
Mm-hmm.
either Aristotle or Plato who said we can't have people writing, then they won't have good memory. That's bad technology, right? We had the people push against typewriters going into computers, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
of course, we're going to have that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's especially as an author, this is crazy, but I have found that the artisan, the author, the creative space is the most reticent to pick up these changes. And I understand
Mhm.
it. There's not understanding it. There's not
Mhm.
uh, realizing like how it actually works and how you can implement it. So there's a little bit of a fear also that it might replace you.
Mhm.
But there is a way to do this and use it in a way that empowers
Mhm.
you. And quite frankly, there's going to come a time where like if you're not getting referenced by AI, no that there goes your billboard on the digital sidewalk. Nobody's going to see your digital storefront anymore,
Oh,
who
so
you
well
are,
said.
So
Yep. So
even if you
so
don't
well
write
said.
with it, you have to know how to use it so that way you can
Mhm.
be discovered.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think, I mean, I'm going to be going over my website after this conversation. Like, this is so good. So you also talked about there's, I guess, AI favors websites. Did you say something that had like multiple like video and tables? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, so when I reference that, yes, it favors a website that will have multiple of those things. But I was in that one more specifically, like say in your blog content. So
Hmm.
AI will favor a blog, and I say blog on purpose because AIs both the a lot of the AIs have been shown to favor a few different sites. So like Reddit, Wikipedia, but 33% of the things that get cited are blogs. So blogs are very high up there, which I know
Interesting.
getting started with a blog can feel like you're talking to nothing. It's just crickets. But blogs are the building up a blog library is really important with AI. And so when the AI looks at blogs, it's more likely to reference that blog or pull snippets or send people there if they have like say if we're talking about stats, which I know how how do we tie that into books, but I'm just going to use that. If we're looking at stats,
Hmm.
if you have a table with the stats, if you also can have a in text you've answered a question about those stats, and then maybe if you have a graph, it's going to be more willing to cite that because you look more like an authority and you've also created multiple ways
Wow.
in which you're reading it.
I love these little cheat sheets. I mean, I'm just so excited because now, well, first of all, it's so funny because I haven't written a blog in a couple of months. I was really diligent about it. And then, of course, I have this podcast and I have to, I'm definitely bringing back my blog now that I know that. Like, I have to do a blog every week now that I know this information. And my blogs did pretty good. I
Mhm.
got a lot of people to my website, and I think that that's really important for writers, and uh, especially if you're just starting and you want. I mean, what an opportunity! You're starting. You have your landing page, you have your blog, and now you're committed to write. Maybe you write two blogs a month. You don't have to write one every week.
Mhm.
But the point is that you're building your library of blogs, and then now we have this extra data point, which, hey, AI search is going to favor blogs. It's going to favor if you have like a chart in there. I mean, this gives us like more context to put out there, like for more content to put out there. For example, if I'm a writer and I want to talk about one of my upcoming books, I could have a little chart that has like my characters in there just as a teaser.
Mhm.
And that is already going to help me with AI optimization for search.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, what are you doing? You're bringing value to the reader that goes there. So, a lot of this can be intuitive. It's
Hmm.
it all comes down to serving people, and so
Hmm.
it if you come at it with that framework and you think like, okay, now I've written this blog, what else can I put in here that would serve people? So another good tip that people can take away is at the bottom of your blogs or articles, put an FAQ. 1 to 10 different notes, and
Hmm.
relate it to your blog. So if I'm
Hmm.
saying, let's say I did a listicle on top 10 cozy reads for the chilly autumn days. And then I
I
have like a
love that
list
blog. I'm
and I
going to
will
read it right
summarize
now.
them. But then at the bottom, I can have like FAQs on like, is this book good for young readers? Yes, this book is
Hmm.
good for young readers because of this, and then you can you can do that, and that also stuff like that is
Hmm.
really helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love this topic, and this conversation has been great. Um, so, I know we're almost out of time, and I wanted to ask you because we talked a little bit. Well, I want to say two things. Well, first of all, just for the audience, we talked a little bit before I hit record, and there's a lot of people that are anti AI, and I think a lot of people are also starting to wake up to AI. I've noticed it. I've noticed it in my own messaging. My messaging used to be a lot different than it is now. I feel like everybody knows about ChatGPT. It's not a mystery anymore. Everybody knows about it. Everybody has
Hmm.
tried it, right? Or most everybody. So that I have seen that change happen within the last 6 months. It's just been accelerated. And you know, the one thing that we talked about before I hit record was you use AI Assist. You use AI Assist, which is in compliance with the Authors Guild, which is in
Hmm.
compliance with copyright law. There is so much you can do with these tools, so much. And this is just the tip of the iceberg that we're just discovering.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can literally plug it into your workflow anywhere to help you. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like the big thing you said is assist. Like the phrase I love, I steal it from, if you've ever heard of her, Joanna Penn.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize. You might be hearing my 1-year-old screaming in the background. Uh, so, but I steal this from Joanna Penn. It's the uh, AI author. What is it? It's the now I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna start trying to say it. The AI author assisted artisan. It's some version of those words. You get what I'm
Oh,
saying,
okay.
right? But
Uh-huh.
it's the author. You are still the artisan. You are still the one behind the craft, and the AI can
Yeah.
come in and help you along the way. And it
Yeah.
should. It should.
Yeah, yeah, and I gotta tell you, like I'm seeing incredible stuff. Like we use AI for structure, and I mean, in my academy, and I have this woman that I looked at her work today, and she's a first time writer. She's like a brainiac. Like I don't know if she's a PhD or what, but she's just like one of those like super high intellectual, very smart human beings. And first time writer, she's writing this. It's like speculative sci-fi. It's got like 11 characters. It's just such a complex. It's got like seven different invented technologies. I mean, it's just insane, right?
Yeah.
And she is building her entire structure with the tools that we have at the AI Creative Writing Academy. She's building it. She's building her structure. She's got to write the book. She still has to write the book, but it's
Hmm.
that level of deep thinking that, that is so helpful. And I think I'm going to tell you this because I think that you'll be able to identify with this, Isaac. But we used to have writer's block, right? That's a thing of the past. Now what we
Hmm.
have is writer's flood. Because if you just start ideating anything with ChatGPT, you're going to end up with a 500-page document like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, you still have to craft the story. You still have to
Yeah.
put any piece you ideate in a way that is going to follow beats. It's going to, I mean, you still then have to write the book. I mean, it's just, there's so much to it. And you're still writing the book. You're just using a tool that's going to help you think deeper. I mean, think about if this woman, she did all that, you know, I have this thing that I call the story Bible. It's the master prompt that they build. And
Hmm.
she did all that in a week. That would have taken her 4 months to do,
Right. Right. And that freed
right?
up for all the time that she could go into actually writing her craft, right? So,
Exactly. Exactly.
mhm,
Exactly. So
yeah.
awesome. Well, it's been so great to have you. And I'm so glad that you reached out because I was super excited when you told me about what you wanted to talk about. So I want to remind everybody Izaic Yorks, and that's Izaic Yorks, Yorks.com. He's got some great stuff on his website, and you can stay in touch with him. He's got a mailing list, which I always love to get on authors' mailing lists because I love to just follow everything that you're doing, and especially because you are so savvy in the AI space. And I'm sure that your newsletter is going to be full of great insights for the audience.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure being on, Anna. And if anyone ever has any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm sure we'll have the links down below. But my email is Izaic, Izaic, at isaac.yorks.com. And so any questions, related to how to get your site to surface better with AI, some specific tactics you can do, truly, I just want to help. And so if you have questions, send them. And when I can, I will be able to answer them. And if I can't, I'm an arm's length away from a room of developers and CTO. So I can always pass it off and get something back to you.
Awesome. Awesome. That is so generous. You may get like the first email maybe from me.
Ah, well, perfect. We'll get it answered as soon as I can, pretty quick.
So great to have you. Okay, well, writer, until next time, keep on writing.
Sweet. Take care.